Good morning, everybody. We're going to talk about working out, exercising, so let's get right into it. So, the main thing that I do, I exercise, I work out personally for about 20 to 30 minutes a day on average. I also, about once a week, I will work out for about an hour or so. I usually will cut myself off at just over an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes max. The reason I do that is because I have an extremely active lifestyle, so I do not like to overdo it on my exercising. So, every person is different. It completely depends on your individual situation. I do recommend talking to your doctor before you start any kind of exercise program, especially if you are not already getting much physical activity, if you're on any kind of medications, anything like that. So, definitely check into that. And aside from that, so basically, a lot of what I do, the majority is simply yoga and Pilates are my absolute favorite. I would tie yoga and Pilates because they are both just so good for you. It is just, in my opinion, really the best exercise. I also recommend walking. In my personal opinion, I do not recommend heavy cardio on a super regular basis. I actually feel that it can do you more harm than good. And all of this stuff in my videos, all of this content is completely my opinion. So whatever you want to do, I mean, it's your life. So you make your decisions. You call the shots. You are the CEO of your life. So I'm just telling you what I do, and I want to put that out there because people always ask me, what do you do for working out? You're so busy. So I'm going to tell you. On average, I spend about 20 to 30 minutes a day exercising. I always, always, always incorporate the same 5 to 10 minutes initially of a combination of Tai Chi, stretching, and breathing exercises with a little bit of meditation. So I do that for, I would say, about 10 minutes, and then I jump into my to my regular workout for the day. So it can definitely range. Some days maybe around 40 minutes, but on average, I would say close to 25 or 30. So it's been almost a year since the birth of my second child now. I worked out every day through all of my pregnancies. Now, I don't go to the gym. I do not I do not use any equipment. I very rarely might use some hand weights or some resistance bands or a towel for resistance, but ultimately I really don't use much of anything. And the reason for that is because I just don't feel like I need it. Every person is different. I tend to bulk up really, really quickly. I was born with the type of genetic makeup in which, for some reason, I produce a ton of muscle mass. So if I lift weights, I will bulk up and look like a bodybuilder, which I personally don't want. Nothing against that, but for me, I don't want that. So yeah, for me, no equipment, simple, easy. I work out anywhere I am, anywhere I go. I actually do pretty much all of my workouts on YouTube. I have about, I would say maybe around 10 to 12 different trainers that I follow, different bloggers. So I just kind of do whatever their workouts are, whatever they've posted for the day. And most of them only post about once a week, sometimes twice. So I will do that video, and these videos usually range anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes all the way up to about 35 to 40. So I have this one particular I follow. Her name is Tiffany Roth, and I'm actually wearing her tank top right now. If you can see it, it says "Fit, Fierce, and Fabulous." So she has a clothing line. You can get your t-shirts and whatnot. So I recommend her. She's great. Her workouts are usually a little bit longer, more like 30 to 40 minutes, but I really enjoy it. It's a very, very good workout. So yeah, YouTube, no equipment, no gym. The gym is something that I've never really been a fan of. I just don't like getting out and having to make another stop, having to take that time and energy out of my day and be around all these other sweaty people. I don't know, I don't know where they've been. I don't know. Gyms can sometimes be a little bit of a cesspool, breeding ground for bacteria, as we all know. So, like I say, again, personal preference, 100% on that. So, let's see if there's anything else. Well, I actually would like to discuss as well. This is something I find could be very helpful. I don't have any stretch marks that I got from either pregnancy, And I think this is really cool because most women have a ton of stretch marks from their pregnancies. And I would like to kind of explain how I did not get them. And some experts believe that this is genetic. But for me, I don't feel it was genetic. I feel it was just purely what it was exactly that I did throughout both of my pregnancies. So, what I did essentially was I continued to work out every single day. I did what I felt like my body could tolerate. I ate super healthy. I did not allow myself to binge. I think that's an issue with a lot of women, when you're pregnant, you think, "Oh, I'm craving this, I'm craving that." But if you modify that and stick to an all-natural diet, eliminate all the artificial crap that's out there and just only eat what you feel you need, eat when you're hungry. And if you really stick to that, I'm not saying don't ever, have a treat because most experts would recommend that you do, but super healthy diet. Also, I continued to exercise, and the main thing I did was I applied oils and lotions like all day every day to basically my whole entire body, but primarily from my chest through my stomach, my hips, my rear end, everything. So I covered all that with primarily I would use coconut oil or something like grapeseed, sunflower oil, avocado oil, really any kind of healthy non GMO oil. And then I would also use special lotions that I would get, shea butter, things like that. And I would just apply it at least 4 to 5 times in a 24-hour period. And so you get used to it. I would just be out, doing something, sitting in my car, and I would just start rubbing the lotion on. And it helped so tremendously. And I am so fortunate and so lucky that I'm able to look like I never even had children when I had to. So that is something I kind of wanted to mention there. And there's a little bit more that goes into it. I mean, obviously, there's so much that I did. I did infrared light therapy during my pregnancies, and that helped a lot with skin elasticity and tightening and plumpness and all of that. So yeah. So we talked about stretch marks. We talked about my working out. Let's see what else. Staying hydrated. You need to be drinking a lot of water, making sure your water is filtered. There are some pretty cheap filters you can get out there. You can get just one of those pitcher filters if you don't have one that goes through your refrigerator. You don't want to go drinking a ton of bottled water that's just in the individual bottles because that's extremely wasteful. And you really don't know, the stuff that's in there isn't really regulated necessarily, so you want to be careful about your bottled water intake as well. So let's see. I think that's about it on the working out. Talked about my pregnancies and how I stayed fit. With my first pregnancy, I gained about, let's see, I only gained 19 pounds with my first one, and I lost it all immediately. And I was actually skinnier like 4 days later than I was when I got pregnant. So it's definitely possible. I do have good genetics. I will say that I'm sure that has something to do with it. But in the same point, I also have a tendency to be considerably bulkier than my parents. My parents are both very, very small, very skinny people. They don't have a lot of muscle. So they're kind of built like sticks. And so it's very interesting that I've always been the type to bulk up and produce a whole lot of muscle because really nowhere in our family line do we have that type of gene. So that's something that's really cool for me because I do enjoy being a mesomorph. So it's pretty exciting to be a little bit different. So yeah, so stretch marks. My second pregnancy, I gained 33 pounds actually. A lot of that was water weight. So as soon as I had my second one, I immediately lost all of about 10 pounds of it. I held on to the remaining 10 pounds. And then I actually gained another like 7 or 8 several weeks later. And I never did get that off until actually about 6 weeks ago. And then suddenly it was like, 9 or 10 pounds just shed off of me like nothing. So yeah, and it came off for, reasons that, just kind of being super active and just lifestyle changes. And and experimenting. I continued to experiment until finally the weight did come off. And so now I'm pretty much exactly where I want to be. I'm not perfect, but I'm really happy with where I'm at with my body. So I think that's going to be about it for today's video. We're just at about 10 minutes here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut off. And if you have any questions, let me know. I did also want to say that in regards to my video yesterday when I was discussing air filtration, I wanted to also point out, obviously, there are options to buy different types of air purifiers. You can get HEPA filters. You can get, I actually just recently ordered what's called an Inte air purifier. The brand is like Inte, Intey. And so I will let you know when I get that and kind of, see how that works. But it's just like a $40 air purifier. I believe it has a HEPA filter. So I'm going to try that out. And when it comes to your home, I do also strongly recommend houseplants. You really can't go wrong with houseplants. They are so beneficial. So definitely take into consideration that. Aloe vera plants especially, studies have shown they can actually be just as potent as individual air purifiers. Even just one plant can be the equivalent of an air purifier. So I would definitely take that into consideration. I actually have so many of the aloes. I think we've got I don't even know how many. We've probably got about 20 aloe plants. And we've got some onion plants and some other, probably about 10 different other random house plants inside. So inside and outside. Plants, very, very good. And that is all for today. Have a wonderful afternoon.